Hello, and welcome to another episode of Other Items of Interest. I'm your host, Jack Zablocki. This week you have a very tired, loopy, silly man hosting a show. I don't know what it is, but we're going to get through this. That's all I have for the intro. Hey folks, how's everybody doing today? I, for one, am a little sleepy, and that's a bit of an understatement. By the way, I'm Jack Zablocki, and by the way, this is Other Items of Interest. Welcome. But that's right, I am super duper tired, and I don't know how the show is going to go today. I don't know if I'm going to get I almost said crumpy. I'm trying to say grumpy and cranky like a little baby. Or if I'm going to be a little bit loopy, or maybe you won't even tell the difference from usual shows. You say, Jack, why not wait? Why not wake up a little bit? Well, I think this is as good as it's going to get, and I'm going to strike while the iron is hot. And that iron is a very temperate, lukewarm. So we're going to get through this the best as possible. I got some interesting stories, as usual. The show gets a little bit not safe for work in the second half. Some sexy stories, some off-color stories. They're fun. Well, mostly fun. Some of them are just downright strange. In any case, we're going to get through this together as a team. A sleepy team. But nonetheless, we'll get through this. And hey, I have to say it, no road construction whatsoever for like a week now. It's been marvelous. Can't say enough about it, but I'm not going to say anything more. I just want to get on with the show. I don't even know what I've been talking about this whole time for the past 2 minutes. That's how sleepy I am, how loopy I'm getting. Let's just get on with it. I think that's for the best. Shall we? We shall. Okay. And I wasn't abbreviating Oklahoma, but this is where the story comes from, actually. From abcnews.go.com. Oklahoma man driving stolen vehicle caught with rattlesnake, uranium, whiskey, and firearm. Oklahoma is kind of like, I think I've said this before, I'll say it again. Oklahoma is kind of like Florida Junior, just without any nice parts. I've been through Oklahoma. Don't want to go there again. Officers in Oklahoma made a startling discovery after arresting 2 people at a traffic stop, only to find that their vehicle contained a rattlesnake, a canister of uranium, an open bottle of whiskey, and a firearm, authorities said Thursday. An officer with the Guthrie Police Department had pulled over Stephen Jennings and Rachel Rivera for driving with expired tags on June 26th. Sergeant Anthony Gibbs told ABC News. After the officer discovered that Jennings was driving with an expired license and Rivera was a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, both were placed under arrest. The vehicle, a Ford Explorer, was impounded because it did not have insurance. It was later discovered that the vehicle had been stolen. Man, when it rains, it pours, don't it? There we have Stephen Jennings' mugshot. Looks like a dude. I don't know what else to say. He's got a little necklace on with a happy face pendant in the middle. He's not smiling in his mugshot, though. So when the impound of the vehicle begins and they start moving compartments, here's the rattlesnake in the back seat, Gibbs said. It was surprising to the officer, obviously. As the officers continued to search the vehicle, they spotted an open bottle of Kentucky Deluxe whiskey near a firearm the sergeant said. I guess Kentucky Deluxe Whiskey gets a little plug. Good for them. Then they discovered a container of yellowish powder that was labeled uranium. Jennings of Logan County told officers that he had the uranium because he recently purchased a Geiger counter to test metals, and the chemical element came with the purchase. He joked with the officers that he was trying to create a super snake, Gibbs added. That's fun when you joke around with the cops arresting you. I'm sure they appreciate that. You know what? I'm just going to say, I bet he bought a Geiger counter because he watched that Chernobyl show on HBO. Everybody loves that thing. Everybody loves that show. I just have a feeling that's why he bought it. Call me crazy. Maybe this is the loopiness kicking in. I don't know. It just seems possible. Back to the article. It did not appear that Jennings or Rivera were under the influence of the alcohol. Jennings was arrested on charges of possession of a stolen vehicle, transporting an open container of liquor, operating a vehicle with a suspended license, and failure to carry a security verification form. They don't say what that might be for. Rivera was arrested on charges of possession of a firearm after a former felony conviction. The snake was taken from the scene and euthanized, Gibbs said, and the uranium was inspected. The uranium did not result in charges because Jennings was in possession of a legal amount. Didn't know that was a thing. Jennings was also within his rights to have the snake, which I don't get because they euthanized it. If he was in his legal rights to have the snake, wouldn't it be considered a pet? I don't know. In the state of Oklahoma, there are certain seasons where you can hunt rattlesnakes, Gibbs said. This just happens to be one of those seasons. But they euthanized it anyway. It's confusing to me. I mean, I'm not sticking up for the rattlesnake because it'll kill anybody without warning. So, whatever. Gibbs said that this was the first time he'd ever encountered a discovery like this, and that his department has received calls from other municipalities regarding how they handled it. Because if we run into it, Gibbs said, it's going to be possible that someone else runs into it. Jennings could not be immediately reached by ABC News because he's in jail. All right, enough of that. This following story seems like it could have been a 1980s adventure story about kids doing something crazy. Australian children take 900-kilometer drive in stolen car. From BBC.com. 4 children packed fishing rods and money into a 4x4 before illegally driving themselves more than 560 miles across Australia, police say. The 3 boys and a girl, all aged 10 to 14, were discovered safe in the New South Wales town of Grafton on Sunday. They had left Graysamere in Queensland sometime earlier in the week. One boy reportedly wrote a note to his family to say he was leaving. Police said they would lay charges, but did not specify which ones. The children were not all from the same family and had stolen the 4x4 from one of their parents, authorities said. Early on Sunday, about 140 kilometers into their journey, the group stopped at a service station in the town of Banana and allegedly stole petrol. An employee there told Sydney Daily Telegraph that security video had shown the vehicle driving like normal before someone got out to fill up. He is really short. Look, he barely even reaches the window, the service station attendant said. Later that day, police spotted the vehicle in Glen Innes, a town near Grafton, and began pursuing it. However, officers stopped the chase due to concerns about the driver's age. The vehicle was later spotted on the side of the road in Grafton, according to Inspector Darren Williams from New South Wales Police. The children locked themselves in the car, and police have had to use a baton to get into the vehicle to arrest them. Sounds like he shattered the window with a baton. Inspector Williams said the group had most likely shared the driving. A non-stop trip between Graysamere and Grafton would typically take about 10 hours. It's a pretty big journey, and it's a long way for a young person, he said. Sorry, I don't do an Australian accent very well, but I would have been doing it the whole time for this article. Anyway, police said they would question the children once their parents were present. Motorists must be age 17 or older to be eligible for a license in Queensland and New South Wales. Why didn't they take the car somewhere closer to go fishing? Dumb kids. Seriously. Anyway, everybody's safe, I guess. That's all that counts. Going for a world record. I always wonder what drives people to go for world records. I guess it's the accomplishment, of course. It always seems silly to me, yet impressive at times. Let me just ponder for a while and slow down the show completely. This one is from Newsweek. Man sits on toilet for 116 hours in bid for world record. Why am I doing this? Why not? I often ask myself that of the podcast. Why am I doing this? Why not? A Belgian man spent 116 hours sitting on a toilet in hopes of setting a new Guinness World Record for the feat. Jimmy Dufresne, 48, squatted on the lavatory in front of customers at Philip's Place, a bar restaurant in Ostend. The toilet was not connected to any plumbing. Dufresne was allowed a 5-minute break every hour, which he could accumulate over several hours to take naps, stretch his legs, or use the real bathroom. It appears, however, he ate his meals on the can. And that's Newsweek calling the toilet the can, not me. I just don't expect that from Newsweek. I don't know. I don't know. I hold them to a higher standard, I guess. I don't even know if Newsweek is a good magazine anymore because I don't read it. I just assume. Self-mockery is the best humor there is, Dufresne told Reuters. Why am I doing this? Why not? There's nothing I like more than people making fun of me, because then I can do the same with them. And there is a picture of Jimmy Dufresne on the toilet in the restaurant. I don't know if I would want to be eating my meal. And there's a guy like out of the corner of my eye just sitting on a toilet. Doesn't seem that pleasant of an eating experience. Wearing a t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, he had hoped to stay on the pot for 165 hours, but after nearly 5 days, Dufresne gave up Friday morning, claiming he felt fatigued. I was very tired and my legs hurt, but I believe in my success and I tried to make this record official. Dufresne said Guinness World Records was aware of the effort and that local officials and witnesses were checking in to validate his attempt. As far as he knew, the previous record for toilet sitting was 100 hours. Representatives from Guinness World Records have yet to comment. Launched in the mid-1950s by brothers Norris and Ross McWhirter, Guinness continues to commend outrageous feats. On June 17th, a Marvel superfan set a new record after viewing Avengers Endgame in theaters a total of 200 times. That's absurd. I haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, but I couldn't imagine sitting through it more than twice. That's just me. 200 times? Come on. On weekdays, I'm going twice a day, Augustin Alanis told Inside Edition. Saturday and Sunday, the most that I can watch is 5. My God, I could not sit through a movie, even my favorite movie, 5 times in a row. The guy was dedicated. In all, Alanis viewed more than 603 hours of film in hopes of showing people what dedication can do. If someone can have the dedication, discipline to do something small like this, imagine what we can reach, what we can achieve, if we all had the discipline to help out each other, to love each other, he told Inside Edition. That's uplifting. I guess he learned all that from, the hundreds of times he watched superhero movie. On June 21st, Ripley's Believe It or Not and Madame Tussauds in New York unveiled an attempt to set the record for the world's largest feather boa, a 1.2 mile long boa held by more than a dozen drag queens. It only took a little bit more than a dozen drag queens for 1.2 miles of boa. Wow. The feathery appendage, which took 2 weeks to complete, was made up of more than 1,000 individual boas sewn together as one. Interesting. I guess we're not going to hear any more about Dufresne and his toilet sitting. Article just kind of veered into other people's accomplishments. So we're just going to veer into another story. And I think this might be my favorite story of the week. It's certainly interesting. I've never covered anything like this before. From metro.co.uk, Finland hosts the first ever heavy metal knitting championship. That's right. First ever heavy metal knitting championship. And there's some good pictures, and there's some good video too. You can check it out at otheritemsofinterest.com in the show notes. There's a picture right up top of, I thought he was a drummer originally, but they're knitting needles that he's holding. He's got his face painted all metal-like. Hardcore stuff. The country responsible for conquering Eurovision with orc rockers, inventing the sauna, and Oye Darude always had the potential for more innovation in the music and leisure realm. The Heavy Metal Knitting Championships have just taken place in Joensuu, a Finnish city bordering Russia. Unsurprisingly, the event was a world first. On Thursday, performers with names like Wool Fumes, 9-Inch Needles, and of course, Heather McLaren, took to the stage to fuse darning with deafening noise in an exuberant display of costumes, physicality, and head-banging. Competitors from 9 countries, including the UK, Denmark, Russia, and Israel, rocked out with their needles out at the inaugural event. Finland is the promised land of heavy metal music. There are 50 heavy metal bands per 100,000 Finnish citizens, which is astonishingly many and actually more than anywhere else in the world, reads the event website. That's a lot. 50 heavy metal bands per 100,000 Finnish citizens. Crikey. The number of... Crikey is for Australia. I don't know what I'm saying it for. I don't know what they say in Finland. But it's the first word that came to mind because I read that story about the kids in the car driving across Australia. Okay, it's official. I'm loopy. Sorry. I apologize. There is a video in the middle of the page. I'll get to that later. The number of needlework enthusiasts is equally high, as according to even the most modest estimates, there are hundreds of thousands of people in Finland who are immersed in various kinds of needlework crafts, knitting including. This year's winner was the 5-person Giga Body Metal group from Japan. Giga Body Metal. That's the name of the band. Who performed with sumo wrestlers and a kimono-clad man. And that's the video you can see on the page, them accepting their award. The kimono-clad man is adorned with a knitted crown, and he's very, very happy and pleased to be receiving it. The next tournament is expected to take place next July, so there's plenty of time to link your textiles queen of a grandmother, your Slayer playlist, or train your Metallica-loving dad in the art of demure chain stitch. Little knitting verbiage for you. The entry requirements for this year's competition were simple. Film yourself knitting to the track Fight or Die by Joensuu band Maniac Abducto. Maniac Abducto. Film yourself knitting to the track Fight or Die by Yeonsu band Maniac Abducto for 1 minute, then whack it onto YouTube. You can watch the playlist of this year's semi-finalist audition videos online if you check out this website through our show notes, which nobody does. I know you don't. I see the stats of the page. Nobody, unless you have some kind of crazy ad blocker that blocks that thing. Anyway, that's the end of the article. Sorry to berate you, but I work hard at this. I really don't care what you do. I just have to put up the sources and whatnot. Now, I'm going to take a nap and then come back and finish this podcast, okay? I think that's for the best. This might be highly entertaining, though. To watch a man, listen to a man go crazy slowly throughout a podcast. Let's do that. That seems like a thing to do. Bad ideas. Donuts filled with syringes nixed from Minnesota Fair. From the Associated Press, apnews.com. Donuts with a side of syringes had been nixed from the Minnesota State Fair after the offering was roundly criticized. Last month, fair officials announced the new foods that would be available at this year's event, including donut holes that came with 3 syringes of do-it-yourself fillings: Bavarian cream, chocolate custard, and lingonberry jam. Sounds delicious. But yeah, I don't want to be injecting my food, really. But the optics of the drug-like syringes littering the fairgrounds and the impact of single-use plastics drew complaints. The Star Tribune says an online petition against the syringes has generated more than 3,000 signatures. Jason Holtz, who launched the petition, says that with the opioid crisis, the message should not be sent that tasty things come from syringes. Vaccines do. I don't know if you consider a vaccine tasty, but they keep us alive. And I don't know if I have any anti-vax listeners. I doubt it. Don't message me, ever. The Wing Walker Donut Flight will instead be served with a compostable tray, so customers can dunk the donuts in instead. And everybody's happy now. Right? I hope so. Everybody's going to get their donuts and their fillings, and why don't they fill the donuts themselves at their booth or whatever they work out of? What's going on? Do I have to think of everything? I hope not. Here we have another funny one for me. This might be tied for the heavy metal knitting contest as my favorite of the week. From WGN TV, Chicago's very own Channel 9. Suspect passes gas so loudly, law enforcement is able to locate his hiding place. That's right. Law enforcement in Northland relied on some basic senses over the weekend to help them track down an alleged criminal. A spokesperson for the Clay County Sheriff's Office posted a photo on Facebook of the search and added that while officials were searching, the person passed gas loudly. So loudly, in fact, the sound gave up the suspect's hiding spot. I'm sorry for laughing. We've got to give props to Liberty PD for using their senses to sniff him out, the Sheriff's Department added. According to the Sheriff's Department, the individual was wanted for possession of a controlled substance. There's some kind of picture at the bottom of something going on. I don't know what. That's it for that story. Short and sweet. Maybe not too sweet, but short and loud. Well, you ever see somebody do something so stupid you're just left, mouth agape, stunned? First-time flyer boards conveyor belt with luggage, thinking it'll take her to plane. From NewYorkPost.com. They include video on this one. Other items of interest.com. Check the show notes if you dare. A flyer tried to travel to new heights as a hilarious video showed her climbing onto a luggage conveyor belt at a Turkish airport, reportedly thinking it would take her to the plane. The first-time flyer checked in her bags at the Istanbul airport, but instead of heading to her terminal, she proceeded to climb onto the conveyor belt as terminal attendants and other passengers looked on. Probably mouth agape, wondering what the fuck was going on. Pardon my language. The woman stepped onto the belt and promptly fell on her backside as it rolled forward. Confused airport staff jumped up to help her before she ended up in a pile of checked luggage aboard the cargo carrier. But the woman said she thought the conveyor belt would conveniently transport her to the aircraft. The viral video garnered lots of jokes from viewers. One person asked, "Is this a shortcut to the plane?" Not much of a joke. Another one said, "I think traveling with the cargo is cheaper." There are no better jokes to quote for this article? New York Post? Come on. Anyway, you can watch it. It's really, they have, she checks in at the gate there, and she just swiftly climbs up. They have the conveyor belt behind the gate, so if you're, checking your baggage in right there, you know how an airport works, right? And she just climbs on. As soon as she gets on, she falls right on her ass. It's hilarious. Now, she was okay. Embarrassed, but don't do that. You got to walk. There'll be a conveyor belt eventually for you to stand on one of those movable walkways. I promise you, if that lady is listening, which I highly doubt, that'll take you a short distance, but not to your terminal. You have to use your legs. That's just how it works. Okay, we can move on now. And here we get into our not safe for work stories. They're not all pleasant. One of them is. I guess you can consider one of them to be empowering in a way. The rest are just, we'll just get to them one by one. How about that? The first one is skeevy. Okay, I'm just going to warn you right away. Man drove 100 kilometers to steal woman's undies, court told. From the Otago Daily Times, odt.co.nz, from New Zealand. A North Otago man traveled 100 kilometers to steal 8 pairs of women's undies, a court has heard. Stephen Graham Gardner admitted a charge of burglary before he appeared in the Dunedin District Court this week, but claimed his trip from Mahano to Dunedin on April 6 was not undertaken with the crime in mind. And there's a picture of the fellow. It looks like his picture from when he's in court, maybe. He looks appalled to be there. Or embarrassed, I can't tell which. Let's move on. Counsel Brendan Stevenson said his client made the lengthy trip simply to use the spa at Moana Pool, and the plan struck him while having a dip. At 9 p.m., the 65-year-old parked his car in Logan Street and walked to Cargill Street, equipped with torches, disposable gloves, and a jemmy bar. Torches being flashlight, disposable gloves being disposable gloves, and a jemmy bar, I imagine, is a crowbar. Those crazy New Zealanders and their words for other things. Mr. Stevenson told the court the defendant had the items in his vehicle coincidentally because he liked doing mechanical work on cars. And I had the same reaction as the judge. Really? Judge Kevin Phillips asked. Gardner claimed he targeted a flat at random. But that too did not wash with the judge. The indications are he had thoroughly cased this flat Knew the girls would be away and that he'd have underwear, he said. Gardner got into the house through an open window. Once inside, he rummaged around and managed to snaffle. I like that. I don't like that he did it, but that snaffle is a good word. He managed to snaffle 8 pairs of underwear before he heard the residents return. I bet that got his blood pressure going. As the 2 women prepared to open their front door, the defendant burst through it, pushing one of the victims aside, dashing into the night and dropping some of the stolen briefs and burglary tools in the process. Ugh. I mean, I can't imagine being in those women's shoes. There's some strange old man. You open the door to your house, to your flat, and some strange old man running at you with just an armful of your underwear. No thanks. Rather than heading back home, though, Gardner went to a nearby bar. When he later returned to the scene of the crime, of course he did, to gather the items he had dropped, a police dog sniffed him out and he admitted the break-in. One of the victims said she found the experience very creepy, but was trying to move on from the ordeal. The other had felt ongoing repercussions. She finds it difficult to trust people, Judge Phillips said. She's scared in her own home. Mr. Stevenson said a psychologist's report revealed the deep-rooted issues behind Gardner's unusual behavior. The man had witnessed abuse at an early age, which had manifested in intimacy issues. And the underwear theft is a result of that, I suppose. The underwear theft was his attempt to forge an attachment with the opposite sex, Mr. Stevenson said. A 2013 conviction for theft also involved lingerie, the court heard. Gardner was sentenced to 11 months home detention in order to pay the victims $1,000. It doesn't say that's $1,000 each, or here's $1,000, split it amongst yourselves. I don't know. At the request of police, the judge ordered confiscation of the defendant's Toyota vehicle since it had played a key role in the commission of the offense. Well, he's not going to need it because he's going to be stuck in his house for 11 months. I don't know, you should probably go to counseling or something. That's just my opinion. And another not safe for work story, sort of. It's creepy, I'll tell you that much, from BBC.com. Gimp suit man terrifies woman in Somerset Village. And she managed to snap off a couple of pictures of gimp suit man. It's a regular head-to-toe gimp suit, black. Looks like it has red X's over the eyes, and the mouth has the same color red around it. It's hard to tell, but it's creepy looking. I would not want to run into this fellow in the middle of the night, or ever, really, any time of day. A woman says she is scared to go out after enduring a terrifying encounter with a man wearing a gimp suit in a dark village lane. She was walking in Claverham, Somerset, when she saw someone charging at me in full black rubbery suit. Already it's creepy. The man advanced toward her, grunting and breathing heavily before fleeing the scene, she said. Police said there had been a small number of reports of a man jumping out at people in the area. Officers were called to the scene at about 11:30 p.m. on Thursday and used a helicopter and sniffer dog in an unsuccessful search for the man. I wonder if the rubbery gimp suit, head to toe, keeps the scent in and the dogs can't find you. Just a random thought from me. I'm not planning on anything, I promise. The victim, in her 20s, said the experience had hugely affected her, and she had chosen to speak to the BBC as she was concerned it may happen again. I would never forgive myself if this happened to someone else and I hadn't said anything, she said. Describing the events that happened on her evening walk, she said she had her camera app open after spotting someone on the side of the street. I was walking along with my torch, flashlight, and looked up to see someone charging at me in a full black rubbery suit and managed to take a picture, she said. He kept coming towards me and was touching his groin, grunting and breathing heavy. Yuck. As I tried to take a step back, he was right in front of my face, and he put his leg forward. I was just trying to assess the situation in my head quickly. Everything was running through my head. I thought, this is it. I'm going to get attacked. I was looking around thinking, oh my God. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to think in a situation like that. The woman, who did not wish to be named, remembers pushing and screaming at the man before he started running backwards to the main road. And there's another picture of Gimp Man. What an asshole. An Avon and Somerset police spokesperson said, "We're aware of concerns relating to a man acting suspiciously in the Claverham, Yatton area. While we're keeping an open mind about the motive for these incidents, what other kind of motive could this asshole have? It's clear the individual responsible is deliberately attempting to cause alarm to the men and women he's approaching. While no one has been hurt during the incidents, we fully appreciate the distress these actions have caused victims. Patrols in the area were being increased to reassure the public and identify the man responsible," the spokesperson added. "The victim has been left feeling panicked that there's something watching and I don't want to go out. I don't blame you. It's not just a man jumping out at me going boo," she said. "Every time I close my eyes, I just see that face." Poor lady. I hope they catch this guy. I mean, there's nothing else to say, really. I mean, he could jump out at the wrong person, and they'll beat the shit out of him, God willing. Then that'll be over. She or he will be a hero. Let's hope. Did you know there are swinger festivals? I think it was last week. I can't remember anything because I'm loopy as shit. I think it was last week. There was the cruise from Germany with all the BDSM people. I think they had over 500 people on the boat. Here's another one. This is a swinger fest from calgarysun.com. And as word of warning for swingers out there, get your hearts checked. Be in tip-top form. Headline reads, "Female swinger suffers heart attack after overdoing it during orgy." And there are some pictures. I don't think there's anything too risque. A female swinger attending a UK sex fest suffered a heart attack because she was overdoing it during group activities. I like how they call it group activities. It wasn't like arts and crafts or something like that. According to the UK Sun, the carnal, caper-loving 52-year-old woman, she was 52, but she should be in better health. I can't make an opinion on that. I'm rambling again. The 52-year-old woman began gasping for breath during the hardcore wife-swapping booty buffet. And I just realized this is the Calgary Sun, which is a rag. And I swore last time I did a story from the Calgary Sun that I'd never do one again. Oh well. The swinger had a heart attack when the medics were on site. She was given emergency treatment, a festival insider told the newspaper. It gave the 700 swingers present, a bit of a shock, but it didn't take too long for the fun and games to resume. An air ambulance flew the stricken woman from the Swingfields Festival. Yeah, it's nice that halfway through the goddamn fucking article, you give the name of the festival. What the hell? You should have named it right at the beginning. Anyway, anywho, I've become grumpy and cranky. I've gone from loopy to grumpy and cranky. I'm sorry. Let's go back to loopy. See if I can get that way again, because that was a little fun. Anyway, let's go back a second. An air ambulance flew the stricken woman from the Swingfields Festival to a local hospital. The woman had a stent fitted in one of her blocked arteries and is expected to make a full recovery. Good. There have been a few jokes about her overdoing it in the frenzy of camp activities, the insider added. It's believed she was overcome while taking part in an orgy. Other hormone-fueled activities, including jelly wrestling and a nude tug of war. That doesn't sound like fun at all, a nude tug of war. I don't like tug of war clothed. I don't think it would be enjoyable nude. That's just me though. I don't know. The event, Europe's biggest sex festival, was held on rural farmland just yards away from a Boy Scout camp. Great. Tickets for the hormone-charged hijinks cost about $450. How many days is this festival that it costs $450? Did I miss that? Did I say it and it just didn't register? I doubt it. Well, you should never doubt what you can never be sure about. The more you know. Let's move on. And to round out the not safe for work stories, this one's a little bit more positive, I think. I mean, it's no man in a gimp suit freaking people out. From canoe.com, adult star creates first porn university. And there are plenty of pictures for this. There's one right up top. I would say do not look at this in front of your children. I mean, nobody's naked, but just don't. A Colombian sex-rated star, and that's sex spelled with 3 X's. I don't know why. I mean, I get it, but why bother? Has just launched the planet's very first university of porn. Amaranta Hank. It's Hank, but I doubt you pronounce it Hank. I'm going to go with Hank. That sounds more Colombian, I guess. Amaranta Hank, star of My Insatiable Neighbor, Dirty Talking MILFs, and My Curvy Girlfriends, among others, wants to educate would-be Meryl Streeps of porn. I'm sure Meryl Streep is thrilled. You hear somebody say, I'm the Meryl Streep of anal. I think that's the worst thing I've ever said on this show. I'm sorry. The 26-year-old tempestuous thespian said the school offers workshops, conferences specializing in production, acting, and selling of the smut. Initially, Hank started her work life as a journalist, but a bet led to her new career in pornography. And there's several pictures of her throughout the article, and maybe it's just me or the angle of the pictures, but her face looks different in each and every one. She promised to strip naked for a photo shoot for a magazine if her favorite soccer team, Deportivo Cúcuta, maybe I'm pronouncing that right? Now I'm lost. I've gone loopy again. She promised to strip naked for a photo shoot for a magazine if her favorite soccer team, Deportivo Cúcuta, was promoted to a higher division. It happened, and she doffed her duds, triggering a tidal wave of hot and bothered in the South American country. There's a video here, but I did not watch it. I'm not just saying that. Does not sound like a perv. Since then, porn has been her passion. The idea came after receiving several messages daily from people who confessed to me of being tired of their work routine and their desire to become porn stars or enter the business, she said. And there's yet another picture with a different face. Among the courses being offered at the Medellin University are What Matters in an Erection, Natural Chemical and Mechanical Erections, Being a Porn Actress in a Macho Society, How to Project Your Image, What Kind of Porn Actress Am I? Spotting False and Abusive Producers, that one's probably pretty important. How to Make a Profit and How to Make the Perfect Porn Scene. The porn pro would know she films wild scenes with up to 12 people on a daily basis. That doesn't say that. I don't know if that's 12 people at once or throughout the day. No clue. But she insists it's important for the newcomers to enjoy the work. And that's it. No more information than that. I don't know if I could see this happening in America. Where would, I guess it would probably be in Los Angeles or something, or Nevada, maybe. I don't know why I'm pontificating on this. So we're going to move on to the last story. And here it is, the end of the show. One more story, then I can maybe get some sleep or I don't know what. This one comes from Newsweek.com. 1 million moms protest Toy Story 4 over dangerous lesbian scene. 1 million moms is a conservative group. It's not actually, 1 million moms. More like 1 million asshole moms. I just don't know sometimes about these groups and what they're trying to do. They just seem like nutters. Let's get on with it because it's a little nutty. 1 million asshole moms, and that's what I'm going to be calling them, is calling for a boycott of Pixar's Toy Story 4 over what the conservative culture group admits is a subtle nod to the LGBTQ community. In one scene, Bonnie, Woody's new owner, is dropped off at school for her first day of kindergarten. In the background, 2 women are shown dropping off another girl, and then later picking her up and giving her a hug. The horror. Oh. No other clues are given about the women's relationship. The scene is subtle in order to desensitize children, 1 million asshole moms wrote in a statement on its website. But it is obvious that the child has 2 mothers and they are parenting together. The horror. The horror. She has 2 loving parents. Oh my God. This is the end times. The group called the scene dangerous. Dangerous. And warns that parents may be blindsided by the subtle but obvious promotion of the LGBTQ lifestyle. Isn't this nutty? This is what they spend their time on? I'm spending time on reporting it, so I'm nutty, but I'm not calling for anybody's head over a simple thing as 2 loving parents. It has not been mentioned much in mainstream media, which could appear as acceptance when really it was because it happened so fast, the petition adds. But the scene was included and intentionally not announced prior to the movie. You gotta be out of your fucking mind. But the scene was included and intentionally not announced prior to the movie release in hopes it would be kept quiet to expose as many children as possible. We gotta look out for communism too. It also balked at the line in the film about not hiding in the closet. Oh, for Christ's sake. Some children may not catch this reference, but it was extremely unnecessary. I haven't seen Toy Story 4 yet. I'd like to. I love those movies. I'm going to go see it 600 times, like that one asshole who saw the Avengers 600 times. 1 Million Asshole Moms says the scene were included strictly to push an agenda. Toy Story 4 is the last place parents would expect their children to be confronted with content regarding sexual orientation. Issues of this nature are being introduced too early and too soon. It is extremely common, yet unnecessary. I think 1 Million Asshole Moms is unnecessary. They are ridiculous. The organization, which also protested Steven Universe, the Powerpuff Girls, and PBS Arthur for showing support of the LGBT community, lashed out at Disney for insinuating political correctness into family-friendly entertainment. I don't know, showing a kid with two loving parents seems pretty family-friendly. No? Come on, you know it's true. Come on, 1 Million Asshole Moms. Disney should stick to entertaining instead of pushing an agenda and exposing children to controversial topics. The House of Mouse has snuck queer nods into other family blockbusters, though those scenes have been equally vague. In Frozen, which I've never seen, a blink and you'll miss it scene flashes of innkeeper Oaken's family, which includes another man and several kids. And in the live-action Beauty and the Beast, I've not seen that either, Gaston's flunky Lefou, I don't know how to pronounce it, is seen dancing with another man in a scene director Bill Condon described as a exclusively gay moment. Good for him. Jack Whitehall will play Disney's first openly gay character in the upcoming movie Jungle Cruise, based on the popular theme park ride. The character, McGregor Houghton, is described as a fun, effete young man who has no interest in women. And that's that. 1 Million Asshole Moms. They got a voice out there. Stupid voice, but a voice nonetheless. Well, I am completely sapped of energy I started with. This article took it out of me for good. What's that I hear? What is it? Is it music? No? Oh, okay, then cue the music. Well, it's time to call it a day. Thanks for listening. This has been Other Items of Interest. I've been Jack Zablocki. I promise you next week I'll be a little bit more awake and alert and less loopy. Unless this has been entertaining for you, let me know. Visit us online at otheritemsofinterest.com. Please. I implore you. See you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.